Welcome back to Entrepreneur Country TV, Edition 5. I was so pleased to see in the Financial Times last week that Mixcloud, Nikhil Shah's business, was featured. They've built a fantastic business for DJs, music aficionados, artists, everybody who loves music, to be able to put their playlists online. The big difference with SoundCloud is that it's all legal. They're now zooming in the market with 14 million users a month. Well done, and we look forward to watching this space with Mixcloud. The other week, we all went to Dublin for the Web Summit. It was an incredible extravaganza. I mean, if you are an investor walking down the main hall, you get mobbed by people who want to show you their demo, give you their business card, have 5 minutes of your time. My slides from my keynote are on SlideShare. We were setting meetings up for large non-tech traditional businesses that want to engage with digital companies. And although we met with a couple retail pharma companies, you had to look long and hard to find these guys in the attendees list. And we, of course, think in Entrepreneur Country, this is the future. This big part of the iceberg, which has not gone digital yet, is the piece which drives digital into becoming part of the common sense, the fabric of our life. Next year, I understand it's all going to be in Lisbon, and I bet you there's going to be a lot more corporates who go to Entrepreneur Country, the Web Summit. People always ask me, what is Entrepreneur Country? How do I get to Entrepreneur Country? Why are you building Entrepreneur Country? Is it really a country? And I tell them, there's a book called Welcome to Entrepreneur Country that I wrote a couple of years ago. You can buy it on Amazon and read it on Kindle. It'll give you a big head start in understanding what we're up to. But really, I wrote the book because entrepreneurs go to Entrepreneur Country every day. We feel that we live in the future. We can only really talk to other entrepreneurs about what it takes to build our businesses, to keep the show on the road, etc. But during the financial crisis, the world changed, as we all know. Shift happened in such a profound way that I felt that I needed to issue a global invitation to everybody else who's not an entrepreneur to go to Entrepreneur Country, to understand how entrepreneurs drive society forward, how through the jobs that they create, through the cash flows of their businesses, they pay those employees, through the products they bring to market, they keep, the future becoming an ever-present reality. And so really Entrepreneur Country is not so much for entrepreneurs, it's for the rest of us to actually understand how and why society works best when it's organized around the entrepreneurs. We, of course, take a special focus on helping the large non-tech traditional businesses. We sometimes refer to them as the Goliaths in a loving way because the Goliaths are the new highways to go to the future. Telecom operators, retails, insurance companies, all of these companies we want to go to Entrepreneur Country because it's not just about the startups and what the venture community does with those startups. It's really about whether or not they are successful in reinventing industries. And to reinvent industries, we also need the leaders of those industries to want to be reinvented and to join in the reinvention effort. That's what we're doing in Entrepreneur Country. We're not an advisory firm. I'm so frequently confronted by very smart people in all sorts of consulting and advisory firms, and it always strikes me that what they're really trying to do is to keep the patient sick as long as possible. If there is really a technology discontinuity, and if to get across that discontinuity, you can only go way into the future to imagine what your industry is going to look like, how should that industry work, then you have to do something completely different than advisory services. You're not building a faster horse anymore. You are imagining what the car is. To do that imagining, you have to hypothesize, you have to test pilot, you have to build, you have to listen to other entrepreneurs that are living in Entrepreneur Country. But it is basically a simulation of the future, and it is a co-creation of that future. We invite people to build Entrepreneur Country with us. We do not want to advise them on building a faster horse, and we certainly do not want to keep the patient ill as long as possible. People always ask me, what's the best pitch that you've ever heard by an entrepreneur? Who was it? How did it go? How do you know how to pitch, etc.? And being able to tell a story about your company, to bring people in to care about your business is an art form. And I'll never forget the morning that I met Diana Parody of Suede. She'd been introduced to me by a friend, and I sat there in our large conference room, and as I was about to grab a sip of coffee, I just said to her, as I've done hundreds of times, "So Diana, tell me about your business." And at that point, she leaned into the table and she said, "So there I was, the youngest employee in the trading department." And immediately she caught my attention. And then she said, "I'm one of 50 people in the world to understand how inadequate the IT systems are in large banks to deal with compliance risk today." I thought, oh my God. And then she said, "But Julie, I'm one of 5 people in the world who knows what to do about it." So I felt compelled to solve the problem. Well, at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I was hooked. I still had not taken a sip of my coffee, but I thought, in roughly 30 seconds, this woman has established her credibility to me in a slightly humorous but ever so clever way, that she understands the problem of real-time Basel III compliance with big banks, and she's delivered a solution. These are the type of great founders that we love. Entrepreneurs that are creating lean infrastructure for big industry. Imagine what it means to change compliance IT stress testing for the banking industry. How could an entrepreneurial team do that? It took the youngest employee in a trading department to see that it could be done a different way. Well done, Diana. We look forward to watching your progress. So that's it for edition 5. Thanks for tuning in. And thanks for sharing, for reading my book, and I look forward to seeing you again next Monday morning.